Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I don't know if they caught my good morning the first time, so good morning again.
Good morning.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is
We have a guest today on the show.
history of decisions.
Wow.
He should be calling in a moment.
Yeah.
And then, well, we'll start off today's show before we say hi to our guest with some talk about Tripoli in Massachusetts. Because there is one case that was confirmed last week. So, just wanted to
All right.
talk about that
Keep
briefly
an eye on your phone.
to begin here.
This guy's pretty prompt. 7:05 now.
Governor Kim Reynolds. Meanwhile, Iowa State Senator Jeff Reitman is a Republican as well. Shares his thoughts on why he no longer supports a former president on Fox News.
My concern was, my honor and commitment to my personal honor, and then my commitment to my governor. So I had to act when it became personal and attack it on our state and on our governor.
Two IRS whistleblowers claiming the Justice Department's
What state?
its investigation
I wasn't really
into
listening.
Hunter Biden.
Kim Reynolds.
Testified
Kim
before
Reynolds is the
Congress
governor
next
of us.
week.
Tennessee, Iowa, or something.
IRS
Yeah.
investigator
Okay.
Gary Shapley and a second unnamed individual will appear
I
before the
wasn't
House
listening to
Oversight
that.
Committee Wednesday. Shapley told
Is he
lawmakers
calling?
the president's
Not yet.
preferential treatment
Hope he got the
in his
message.
tax and gun case and claimed
I
he
texted him yesterday. I told him to
follow
text him.
evidence
Leave
that
a
may have
message.
implicated
Called him
President
last
Biden.
week.
Hunter Biden last month reached a plea deal with prosecutors that would require guilty pleas on 2 misdemeanor tax charges.
NASCAR drivers are making their final preparations for today's Crayon 300. The race taking place today at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. The green flag drops just after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Tim Berg, USA News.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I swung a bat once or twice.
He's a minute late. This ain't good. He's
Jeff,
never late.
Easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no
Oh.
overdraft fees,
I
is it even
don't
a
know.
decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details.
Should I
Capital
text
One
him?
NA member FDIC.
If you want. It's up to you.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host.
I'm
and
gonna
do
start
not
the
express
show
views of
with
WVVF ownership
Triple E anyway.
or Hometown Talk
So I
Radio.
will text
Content
it
aired on all programs
when I'm
are
doing
those of the
that,
host
I
and
think.
their guests.
What's the 270? There we go. It's throwing me off because I have the check marks here already.
I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns?
It's throwing me off a
time
little
for
bit.
the Middleboro Weekend Review.
I'll get it.
With your host, Joey Driscoll.
Eventually.
Stay tuned for news, Middleboro news, here on AM 1530 WVBF. Hey,
You ready, Mike?
what's happening?
Oh, you're always red, Mike. I don't know why you asked.
Is it flashing?
No. And good morning and welcome to Middleboro in Review. I'm Joey Driscoll. Once again for another edition of Middleboro in Review. Today's date is the 16th of July, 2023. It is a cloudy day today. Would you say it's muggy dawn or just...
Disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
just
all I can. Yuck.
yeah, it's
Yuck.
not fun weather. That's for sure. Not fun weather at all. We're currently outside. We get the weather here in just a moment. We're expecting, I'm not sure 100%, but we were expecting a guest to call in. Danny Harmon of Distant Signals, the Distant Signals YouTube channel, who we've had on this show a few times before. But we'll be giving an update on that in a few minutes. Here, Dawn is currently texting him. Anyway, let's start off with the weather. It is 77 degrees in Middleboro, cloudy skies, a high of 79 today, rain in the forecast. It's supposed to most likely start after 10 or 11 o'clock, somewhere around there. And could be lightning, thunderstorms, lightning in there as well possible today. It's going to rain throughout the rest of the afternoon, possible as well. So it's a low of 73 tonight. Then it clears up for Monday, 91 degrees for Monday. Very nice day. Very hot day tomorrow, but at least it's not going to rain, I guess. It's a good thing. Right, Don?
Well, all this rain is bringing so much moisture around. It's just that steamy effect. That's why it's so gross. That's why it's so humid, because all these tropical rains.
And it brings issues with mosquitoes, which we'll talk about in a second.
Exactly. I mean, that's one thing.
We have a phone call.
Oh, okay. I think it's
let's get that up here, and I better grab my headphones. 1 second, caller, if you can hear us. Let me just...
Talk about having your stuff ready, huh?
Oh,
You're all right.
I didn't notice I didn't have my headphones ready.
Oh, yeah.
That happens. All right. Good morning, caller. How are you this morning? How are you, Danny? Okay. Don is trying to figure out his headphones here. You got it, Don? 1 second, Danny.
No, keep talking to him.
Okay, so, thank you so much for calling in once again, on this, here it's a muggy Sunday morning, in the mid-upper 70s.
Yeah.
Don, you're all set with that?
I'm getting nothing over here.
Okay, well, let me,
We should take the thing again.
1 second. Just talk.
Yeah. Good morning, Danny. I know you can't hear me. Joey's trying to get things straightened out over here on this board here, this 24th century board we have here at WBBF, and just whatever. Can you just unplug it to go without the things?
Yeah.
Let's just do that.
I think that's what we'll do today.
Yeah. Morning, Danny. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Not bad. What's it like in Florida? I heard that it's been really hot. My sister was down holiday, and she says it's been really bad. What's the weather report?
It's hot, but I hate to complain about it. Those folks out west are just getting murdered right now. I mean, 105, 108. I think Vegas is going to hit 117 today. I mean, it's just crazy hot out there. But, we have the humidity here. Right now, it's 83 this morning with 82% humidity. And, man, after spending the night sleeping in an air-conditioned house, you walk outside, that hits you in the face like somebody with a big closed fist. It's crazy. But yesterday I was out for a period yesterday afternoon, and the hottest part of the day is between 4 o'clock and 6. But it wasn't too bad because we got a westerly breeze here, so I was doing much better in the afternoon here than I thought I would, because I just haven't been out at all. I haven't done any rail fanning this summer to speak of, because just been so blasted hot.
Yeah, it gets pretty hot on the side of those tracks there. You mentioned that in your videos too, that it's just unbearable, and you do a lot of your rail fanning, mostly in the winter months, like January, February. They said it's probably the best time to rail fan.
In Florida, in Central Florida, if you can do your rail fanning in December and January, I mean, that is the sweet spot down here. I mean, there's no humidity, and temperatures get up into the mid-70s. It's just beautiful here that time of year. But yeah, the problem with rail fanning in most places, I guess, is that there's just not any shade.
Right.
You know, there's not any shade in these places because, you know, naturally the railroads would keep that stuff cut back. And it's just, it's a tough hobby at this time of the year.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I just mentioned that yeah, you do mention that a lot. So you know, well, I'm glad you called in, Danny. I noticed something on Facebook last night. You were at a presentation for a friend of yours who passed away.
Yeah, my longtime rail fan buddy Joseph L. Oates passed away in January. He was 87, and he passed away from complications after throat surgery. And the historical society that he helped found, the ACL and SALHS, some members got together and decided to have a little memorial for him. And Jim Langston, the current president of the society, he orchestrated the whole thing. We had it in Tampa Union Station down here, the downtown railroad station. We had it in an upstairs meeting room. It was nice. We had quite a few folks show up, and we showed, Jim Langston showed the last slideshow that Joe was preparing before he got sick and passed away. Cocoa Beach every year has a big model railroad convention, and can't remember the name of the society, but I don't know if it's NMRS. I'm not a modeler, so I don't know, but he was going to show this slideshow at Cocoa Beach and never was able to. So Jim got all the materials together, and he showed this slideshow. And, you know, everybody, we went around the room afterwards, and everybody told Uncle Joe's stories, and it was just a really nice event.
Yeah, I saw the videos on your Facebook page, and I deeply sorry about the loss of your friend. I know he's been in a lot of your videos. He's so, to me, it looks like he's sort of your mentor as far as your passion
Absolutely.
on.
Absolutely. You know, he was a railroader. You know, spent his whole life working on the Seaboard Airline and then the Seaboard Coastline and ultimately CSX. I think it was 35 years with them. And, you know, knew an awful lot about railroading and really was where I learned, you know, the bulk of what I know now about it from Joe. So anyway, you know, everybody's got their time, and
Right.
You know, you don't like to think about it, but when you get up in your mid-80s, and
Right. No, I mean, I have loved ones that are at that time, and it's just the precious moments of life right now. We have precious time. That's one thing you really have to take advantage. You can never waste a day. It's just always try to create.
You really can't. You know, you really can. You know, you say that, you know, but just like that country song, you know, you can always do that thing with that person until you can't.
Right.
And it kind of hits you, you know, like that. But you know, and the finality of it really will hit you because you know now there's a guy who I'll never go rail fanning with again. I'm never able to do that again, and that's the kind of things that you know make you think. So
Right.
it is important, like you say, Don, you know, to savor every moment and really do everything you can, get it all done.
I really liked your tribute you did for Joe. Not the last video, but the 35-mile video there, the one over at Nahanta, over in right at the beginning. It's just you showed a picture of him, and I think you get a couple horns, a nice salute, and that was it. Less is more. I mean, you didn't mention it in the video, but that was moving to me. I'm a big believer in less is more. A lot of people in my life believe in that, and I think that's more of a statement than talking. You know, we're talking about his life and his legacy, but as far as your memorial towards him. I thought that was a class act. I really did. I was like, when that popped up, when I saw that video for the first time, I was like, oh, it's like, wow, man, he lost Joe. Because I watched a lot of the videos with Joe, and you've done several videos with Joe, earlier videos, a lot. He was a lot of your videos, but I went back and watched a couple of them, see what you guys, partners in crime. I really dug it.
Well, you don't see all of the ones that he was with me on that I didn't include or mention him at all. It was just him and me together on these things, and there's some of my early videos,
Right.
a couple of dozen of them actually, where he was riding shotgun with me.
Right. I dug up
the whole time,
right.
and but you don't see him as part of the video, and that one that I did in I think it was '07, where I said, I'm going to make this about you, Joe, and that really got a lot of good response, and so I'm really glad I did it.
Right, I'm sure he's proud of you too, because you've made created such a good product, such a good channel. Thousands of people enjoy your channel and your professionalism and the way that's what drew me to you all these years ago, and that's why I reached out to you, because I was hoping, hey, let's give it a shot, send him an email, and hopefully, and you did. So I mean, that's great, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you. I'm thinking about coming down in November to visit my sister. I have family down in Florida, so a cup of coffee and some stories would be great.
Absolutely.
But I mean, that was a great tribute, and I just think it's a class act, and you really honored your friend in that. And I've lost friends too, and it's a hard thing to do, and you really did a wonderful job on that, in my opinion.
Well, thank you.
So you were talking about rail fanning and the weather. Me and Dawn actually did a little bit of riding the rails yesterday, Dawn, did we? We went to Forge Park, which is in Franklin, Massachusetts. A really nice line. It goes through Walpole and areas like that. Foxborough, Massachusetts, just about close to that as well.
Well, that's it. I broke up the map. I don't have a map. I gotta get a map. Okay, I need rail maps. I'm still looking at my phone, and the phone doesn't give anything justice when you look at a map or a chart of a good railroad. But that particular line is the MBTA commuter line, and it ends at Forge Park, which is right outside 495 near Franklin. But that line heads up to Woonsocket, Milford, and it used to connect to parts of Connecticut, Willimantic, and then on to Waterbury. So all these different lines, they're thinking about bringing them back, like you said, and there's talk about even they're looking at old rail trails they put together, taking them back and use them for lines, use them for rail lines and whatnot.
That is awesome. I mean, I don't know what the do you know, Don or Joey, have there been trails, rail trails that have been taken back and put in service as railroads again? Do you know of any incidents of that anywhere in the country?
I heard there's grumblings about it because now they're looking at the lineups on how everything works, and plus the big infrastructure bill, because these what they did, and I think what they should have done is they made the whole rail trail the trail, and you don't need a whole rail. You don't need a whole, rail trail to be that wide. It can be so what they did, and I think they did it in Connecticut when they put a busway in. They put one of those rapid busways in. They put a mini rail trail next to the right of way. And I'm thinking of that because they have room for that. And they did the same thing on the Green Line extension to Medford, Tufts. They have a little bike path on the side. So, I mean, they have room for that. So I'm thinking they'll probably not eliminate it. They'll just shrink it. They'll just make it smaller. They'll just move it over. Because, I mean...
Well, I would love to see some of that.
Well, if there's no use for it, yeah, keep them. But, I mean, if you can have robust rail system in the region and more people take it, because traffic's getting really bad. I mean, since the pandemic's been over, it's been gridlock.
Really over the past 6 months, yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
So,
I can't imagine what it's like up there because I know what it's like here in Florida. Here in Central Florida, the traffic is just horrible now.
Well,
and it never was before. We never had a real traffic issue.
Yeah, but everyone's moving in from the rest of the country, though.
Orlando and Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
You can forget about it. I mean, the 20 miles leading from Lakeland into Tampa, it's gridlock. It's just stop and go all the time. It doesn't matter. We never had that before.
Well,
same with I-75.
Right.
Somebody has a flat tire on I-75 between Sarasota and Ocala, it'll back the whole thing up. We never had those issues before. But since the pandemic,
Yeah.
and since we've had this massive influx of folks
Yeah.
that are relocating to Florida, it's just out of control. So I don't know if railroads, commuter lines will help us down here so much. But up where you guys are, in that more compressed and congested area, I think you've got to have it. I think you've got to have the commuter line.
Well, always had the congestion, and I guess the reason why you have it down where you live in Florida, and you lived in Florida your whole life, is a lot of people moving in from other parts of the country. The infrastructure can't handle the flux of people. So, I mean, it's nice to say everyone's welcome until you can't move around and function. Then there's like, now what do we do? Everyone moved here, now we can't even move. Now we have a situation.
There's a problem.
Right.
And because of that, because land has become so expensive,
Right.
all those new residents have driven the price of everything way up because land is so expensive. You're going to be able to build any new roads. I mean, that's just not going to be a thing. You can widen some roads, and I think widening roads, in the 4-laning and 6-laning, the roads around here like they do, I think that just adds to the misery. I really do. As soon as they widen those roads, more people get on them.
Right.
The backups, the congestion is still just as bad. It's not only the roads and highways; it's the schools. It's even our water supply. The pressure on it is just tremendous. And there's an element, that doesn't really care about that stuff as long as they're making money. But the folks here, we got to live with that. So, I don't know. We've always figured a way out of it, and we will this time.
Well, what I don't understand is, to me, the press. Again, I always, I'm in the press, so I shouldn't knock it too much. But the main press there, they just push how bad it is as far as the taxes up here, and it's a little expensive, but whatever. But everyone's moved out of here to move to an area that's gridlocked, and now you could probably go live upstate New York, and the taxes aren't that bad, and the roads are mint. The roads are pretty good here in Massachusetts, so everything evens out at the end. I mean, you want to go away and save a few bucks on your taxes, Bill, but meanwhile, you can't move down to Florida. So, I mean, there's a reason why we have 50 states and not just 1 or 2. I mean, that's in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'll balance out over time, because I'm telling you, housing prices in Florida have just reached crazy levels now. I mean, just houses that are affordable to starter families, 15 years ago, you can't touch unless you're a millionaire now.
Right.
Little 3-2, small starter homes, what used to be considered starter homes, are now $750,000.
Right.
And that won't sustain itself. People will run out of money one way or another. So.
Right.
Just this one thing I want to mention here. Before we take a commercial break, we'll take a commercial break in about a minute or two. Talking about the congestion, talking about how things are packed in pretty tight in some areas. Boston was being considered, I think it was I don't know if it was 2028 or 2030, but they were being considered for the Olympics. And I took one look at that report, and I laughed it off, honestly. The traffic would be immense. It is immense already in Boston. I think that they wouldn't be able to handle the influx, and it did fall through pretty quickly. But I mean, I'd like to see the Olympics here. I just don't know if Boston can handle it.
Unfortunately, we were being considered for the Olympics back in 2012. We had a whole big task force here in the Tampa Bay area that were, seeing what they could do and getting their pitch together to the Olympic Committee. And the amount of infrastructure that they were requiring for that, and the things that had to be built, and the money spent was just astronomical. And I just don't see the value in it. I really don't. I know everybody just loves the thought of having the Olympics in your town, but the amount of money that has to be spent on these things is just crazy. And I just don't see the return on investment. I'm just not a fan of bending over backwards for the Olympics. I'd say, okay, here it is. We'll make a pitch. We'll throw this out to you. We've got X number of hotel rooms. We've got X number of playing spaces, and that's it. Take it or leave it. I think that it's like sports venues in general, I think they pay off over time, but the initial investment in them has just become nuts.
All right, it's 7:30. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on Middleboro in Review with more with Danny Arman of Distant Signals YouTube channel. Once again, joining us and via phone lines. So we'll be back in just a few minutes here on Middleboro in Review on WVB at 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. We'll be right back. Alright. Back to that. Alright, get that here. Alright.
How long is this break?
About 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
Okay. And I'll finish up my weather segment actually too.
Yeah, and Triple E.
And I talk about Triple E.
Yeah, we got. I think he just woke up. Well, that's an easy coffee.
I think Spark Street's up at the end of July. And then Nicaragua is up at the middle of August. So I gotta start making some phone calls here in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, if Nick
Why
doesn't,
does this chair always decide to...
if Nick doesn't sign up, we'll go after Rayco.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
He'll write you a check every month. He's a good friend of Jeff.
Yes.
So I mean,
Okay.
And plus, Rayco's a Middleboro company too. So
Okay.
technically, so.
Yeah, they're like running the... Are they... No, they're not running the line, are they?
Yeah, they're on
Are
the
they?
Rochester.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah, they're on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah.
What's the other company that's right on the line too? CMAS?
No, that's a trash company.
Okay.
Now, does Sam White down there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we don't go to Sam White. They're terrible. It's just they have a place.
There.
Well, they have a place in Newton. We used to dump there, and
Yeah.
then they just started jacking the prices up crazy.
Well,
When we did jobs in Newton, we had to get rid of Phil. They just extortion. Where we had to haul everything up to Avon.
okay.
They weren't even trying to. I can see it jacking the rate up a little bit, but they just quadrupled it overnight.
Wow.
It was like $50 or $80 to get rid of it. It turned to like $300 one night.
That sucks.
I'm like, so why $300? Oh well, just because. I said, really? So I'm never coming. I got a big fight with a lady there.
Okay.
Big shouting match. Started screaming back. She was, trying to intimidate me and stuff, and
Yeah.
that. I ain't putting up with that.
That doesn't fly.
Yeah.
All right, 7:35. I'm gonna take my second commercial break at 7:50.
All right. Wonder what's wrong with these. Wonder why these aren't lighting up.
What? What's not like
These microphones. I mean the
mean?
headphones.
I have no clue. I really don't
Everything
know.
on over
I think so. So I don't.
There we go.
Nah, I don't want to mess with that. No, things will go off the rails real fast. I don't want to mess with those headphones. I don't care. I don't care about the headphones.
Yeah.
Just focus on one thing, because if we focus on 8 million different things, things go off the rails fast. It's not.
Whatever. We're fine. We're fine. The feedback's a little tough, but you've been managing it.
Oh, yeah.
Turn that up so I hear it.
All right. We're back from a commercial break here. I'll just let this play. 20 seconds. Ten seconds.
Oh, you got to thank Chachi too.
I'm going to do that right now. And we are back here on Middleboro in Review. I am Joey Driscoll. I am joined by Don Driscoll. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Chachi LaPret. He called. He came into the studio. He came into the studio on Thursday. We were talking with him on Thursday, and on Friday he had another Lorenzo's event, Beatles Night. It was a fun event at Lorenzo's, and he's got another one coming up on August the 5th, 2023. That'll be a paid event, $50 to get in.
Yeah, for a table for four.
For a table, yep.
So that equals a $12.50 a head.
Yep, so $12.50 a person.
And there's gonna be a band
for a table of four. Yep, and there'll be a pretty big band there, the Onos, as well.
Yeah,
Beatles covers, Beatles music, and then on I think it's the 14th of September.
17th.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. September.
Second, third week of September is the final Beatles night of the summer at Lorenzo's as well. So go out to either of those two. Make reservations. Go out to either of those two. Again, that's at Lorenzo's in Middleboro. So we just want to give a shout out to Chachi LaPret. Thank him for coming into the studio on Thursday. Great hour show.
That was awesome.
Great interview.
I could sit there face to face and ask him all these crazy questions. You know, what I mean, it's good.
Yeah, I actually unearthed I just stumbled upon this, but there's a Paul McCartney song out there. I think it came out in 2014, and it's with Paul McCartney and Nirvana, or the remaining members of Nirvana. I think this came out in 2014. Dave Grohl, I believe, was on it as well. Chris Novoselic, and again, I'm forgetting the name of the song off the top of my head right now. I have it on my phone, but my phone's being used for the Facebook Live, so I can't access it right now. But really good song. Really heavy, actually.
We'll talk about that next week.
We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah. Music recommendation.
When I have the song in front of me.
Yeah, we haven't done a music recommendation in a while.
Yeah,
right.
But very good song.
Okay.
Definitely recommend. Just type in Paul McCartney and Nirvana, and it should pop up. Honestly, it should pop up. But anyway, let's just finish up the weather real quick. It is 77 degrees in Taunton, outside of our Taunton Federal Credit Union studios at 14 Church Green. Cloudy skies. It's supposed to rain today. A high of 78, a low of 72 this evening. High at 90 tomorrow. and high of 88 on Tuesday. Rain on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday possible as well, which will contribute to, of course, the mosquitoes and possible triple E that might pop up. There's already one case that we should talk about in just a moment. There was a case that popped up last week. 81 in Driscoll, Texas. Is going to be 104 today. And it's going to be 100 degrees every single day this week in Driscoll, Texas. No rain in sight either. Driscoll, North Dakota, 54 degrees. Much cooler weather. 54 right now. A low of 47 this evening, Don. In July. You're
going to be here in late August. They're going to be into the 30s. Driscoll, North Dakota. I think it's pretty chilly up there. Those numbers are off the charts between Driscoll, Texas and Driscoll, North Dakota.
It's only going to get up to 71 today.
Right.
But it will warm up a little bit. Mid 80s by next weekend.
Okay.
But pretty cool nights, though, that's pretty nice.
Yep. Okay.
To hear. All right, Triple E in Massachusetts. There was one case that popped up in Worcester this year. And I believe that was just about a week ago. Actually, Worcester County. Let me get that up. Actually, it was West Nile virus, not Triple E. So, West Nile virus, first detection of it this year in Massachusetts. In Worcester. And that happened just about the 29th of June. The Central Massachusetts Mosquito Control Project sprays for mosquitoes in the area in gas spraying scheduled on its website. The detection of West Nile virus was in a mosquito sample collected on the 29th of June in the town of Brookline in Norfolk County. There are no human or animal cases of West Nile virus or Eastern equine encephalitis detected so far this year. No elevated risk or risk level change associated with this finding. Human cases of West Nile virus typically transmit through the bite of a mosquito. In 2020, the Department of Public Health announced 8 cases of West Nile virus in Massachusetts, the highest number of cases detected since 2018, 49. The highest in 2018 was 49 cases detected. And people over 50 are at higher risk as well for the effects of West Nile virus.
Just watch yourself, especially with this rain we've had. Mosquitoes are up and about. Danny, you got a lot of mosquito problems in Florida with West Nile?
Oh my gosh, we have mosquitoes all the time.
Yeah.
In Central Florida, and especially the part of Tampa where I live, close to the water. It's low. I'm at 8.5 feet above sea level here at my house, and we have mosquitoes all the time. When I first moved to this part of Florida, I was putting up Christmas lights at my house, and I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes. I couldn't believe it. We have mosquitoes all the time. We don't have, now where I live, we don't have the swamp mosquitoes, which are the big ones that hurt when they bite you. We've got the little ankle biters, what they call them, because that's where they like to concentrate, is places that are close to the bone. I guess they are able to get in easier. They bite you, and you don't know they've been there until a couple minutes later when it starts itching.
Yeah.
It's just madness. But our mosquito problem, is pretty constant here. It's just like, it's all the time. Now, in the spring, in a dry spring that we have here, they subside for a while, but after that first big rain happens in early May or late May, they come out, and that's it. Now, there's parts of Florida that are just unbelievably bad. You get off the center of the state, closer you get to Lake Okeechobee, of course, the lower everything is, you just have horrible mosquitoes out there.
I couldn't imagine being lost in the woods out there with no mosquito spray.
I think of the pioneers that that came down here
Oh yeah.
in the 1800s. I mean, what must they have thought?
Oh. Well,
You know, I just admire those people so much that came to these places, these wildernesses, and lived through all these hardships that we wouldn't even consider now. We would not even consider it.
Well,
They did it.
the reason we wouldn't consider it is because we have remedies for it. You know, we have sprays, we have
Yeah.
this. But I mean, you think about it. I mean, it's like anything. I deliver oil in blizzards, so I mean, the first couple of days, it's like people can imagine going out there up to your knees. I mean, I've delivered oil up to my waist in snow. In the oil business, and people can imagine that. But after 4 or 5 days of doing it, you get hard to it. You get, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not fun at all. But after a while, you know, you take your licks, kick your mulligans, would say, and then you move on. So it's like anything. But you're right. I mean, the early pioneers who made this country, and especially down friggin' Flagler's workers who built the railroad through the line. So Flagler's line pretty much was the East Coast, right? That was Flagler's line?
Henry Flagler built his railroad from Jacksonville to Miami.
Right, the East
And,
Coast.
on the East Coast, and it literally is on the East Coast. There are parts of it where you can get a shot of the train with the water right behind it. So he really hugged the coastline as he went south.
It's like that on the Northeast Corridor through Connecticut. I mean, feet from the ocean. Feet.
Yeah.
I mean, literally feet
Yeah.
through that part. So.
Can't wait to get up there and see that. I'm
Oh yeah,
very excited about it.
you definitely want to come in May or June. You don't come in April. You're not gonna like it in April. It's too raw. It's too cold. You're not gonna enjoy it. There's a lot of rain here.
Yeah.
End of May, early June is perfect. You don't want to be here in July because it's hot too. But I'd say from after Mother's Day, because you can't go anywhere before Mother's Day. You'll be in deep water. You know, you have to be there for Mother's Day, right? So. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So between Mother's Day and Father's Day is a good time to do all the rail thing up here. And we've been looking.
Now let me ask you guys a weather-related question, just very briefly. Did you guys get any of that heavy rain that they got in Vermont this past week?
Yeah, we got one day of it. Not as bad as I mean, we didn't have the flooding Vermont had, but we got one heavy rain day. But no, we didn't get. I don't know what's with Vermont. You know, it's just like you hear about like monsoon. They had like a hurricane up there a few years ago.
Yeah.
Almost. They wiped out all the rail beds for all the trains and whatnot. I was working for a trucking company at the time, and they had to reroute all their purchases, and we're going into Air, Massachusetts. And we were delivering to places that we normally wouldn't be delivering because of that problem. That was about that was a while ago. I'm going like 8-9 years ago. I was working for this company, and I was hauling freight out of Air, Massachusetts over the Norfolk Southern place there. But it was all the reroutes. It was crazy. Everything was getting bogged up there because no trains were heading north. So everything was heading up north and around But that was pretty much the terminus as far as the rail, because nothing could go up north because all the infrastructure was almost wiped out in that year.
Wow.
So I
I
remember.
guess, bad weather's just part of the deal, you know?
Yeah.
We say, weather's horrible and it's getting worse and everything. I think it's just always been this way. I really do. I think that the weather is just, we just live with bad weather. And we are such a people that, I think you can speak this globally, but I think we're such a people that we go, yeah, it's part of the deal. It's terrible when it's happening to you. But, we lived through hurricanes
Yeah.
many, many years here in Florida.
Right.
You guys went through blizzards and big storms going with those blizzards.
Yep.
And you don't move. You don't pull up stakes and go someplace else looking for better weather. It's just part of life.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I just think that's the way it is.
I don't read into anything. Don't read into anything because the snow. It's New England. It'll be 80 the next day. That's just how it is. Especially New England weather. It's You'll find out when you come up here because I don't think you've never been this far north, right? You've never been up his.
No, I've never spent any time there except for New York, you know. But and that's usually in the summer.
You fly in or whatnot, but yeah. So you have any idea how you want to come up? You give it any thought? You gonna fly up, rent a vehicle up here, or I know.
I think we'll fly. I think we'll definitely fly.
Right.
Because you know the drive up there is just too long.
Right. No. Yeah. Well, fly.
So we'll fly in. You know, I can fly with all of my gear now, so
Right.
it's not a.
Right. Well, what I was thinking for maybe next year, I mean, might as well just tell you now, I got you held hostage here, right? Depending on how much time you have, maybe we can work our way, maybe make it like a video, like work our way to the Atlantic Ocean. Maybe start out in the coal country in western Pennsylvania, explore pretty much the whole Pennsylvania line there with Horseshoe Curve. Work. I know you were there, and you could probably show me some pointers there. Work your way all the way through New York, right into the Hudson River Valley area, and right across the Hoosick Tunnel, right into Massachusetts. I'm not sure how much time you have, but I'll kidnap you for a whole month.
That's always the limiting factor. So I'll have to figure out how much time we're gonna have on that trip. So
Right.
And we'll start
Well,
planning it when we figure a date.
we got 81. You know, well, Joey and I, we've gotten to a certain point. We got to finish up our run to Mechanicsville this year, and then we're gonna be. So we're gonna. I have some areas already on the Fitchburg line, pretty much. Nice spots too. We went it like 3 times, and we really kind of getting the mechanics of it. As far as trains, we saw a couple. And it's some really nice backdrop. It's like a quaint little area. It's if you go and check out Route 2 in Massachusetts, you got towns like Irving, you got towns like Miller's Falls, you got Greenfield, which is a real yard. You have the Hoosick Tunnel, which is in Florida. So we got to get you to Florida and Massachusetts, Danny. That's very important. You can get a
Yeah. There's so many of those places you guys have told me about now that I really want to visit.
Yeah, well, we're going to be getting some cheetahs for you and checking out some areas too. I know that area, but I mean, I know the Hudson River line on the Hudson from Albany all the way down to Jersey is like really nice. It's really nice. So I mean, you got to pick your poison, and then you want to get to Boston. But I mean, you can't go too far. You know, you have to figure out how much time you have. But we'll try to find you some sweet spots. That's all we can do.
Yeah, well, you've given me a list of all some really good stuff. You said there's some place in Palmer, you know, that we gotta visit.
Yeah, that
Gillette Stadium, you know, they're
Yep.
up there because there's a commuter rail that runs right through there, I think.
Yep.
Then there's a crossing at Walpole where two lines cross.
Yeah, that's the diamond there. Actually, that's where most of the freight rolls out of. And there's a short line in Quincy. They deal with pretty much corn syrup, and that's the farthest point the freight runs as far as Quincy.
You were there yesterday.
What?
The diamond, right?
Yeah, we were there. We went over the diamond yesterday on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, exactly.
Now, in proximity to you guys, where you live there in Middleboro, how close is the Pan Am Railroad?
Pan Am Rail would start pretty much in Littleton, not even Littleton, Air, Massachusetts. That's where it starts because it branches off and heads up to points in Maine. So we really dissected that line from Littleton, Mass, all the way to Miller's Falls. We the 3 times we went there, and we got video, we got all sorts of stuff. But that Pan Am goes all the way to Mechanicsville, New York. But now it's some CSX and Norfolk Southern. Pan Am is done. I mean, those carriers took it over, but you can still see the livery on some of their engines. They're still running, and they're running old. They're running some pretty sketchy livery, and bad need of a paint job as far as going down the tracks is more like it. Right?
Well, that's not unusual for short lines. You know, those guys run on a pretty tight margin most of the time.
All right.
unless you've got a really big customer.
All right.
But most of the time, short lines are kind of on their own. That's why the
right.
Reds spun them off, because they didn't have the business to support, what a major, class one requires. And the short lines, the non-union, short lines that, mostly unsignaled and
Danny, hold that thought. Again, hairy eyeball
Yeah,
from me. We're going to do a commercial.
We gotta go to a commercial.
And we'll go right back to Danny.
yeah, go ahead. Take the break.
Just want to mention real quick before we do take that commercial.
Quickly, right? Joe?
NASCAR's got their Crayon 301 at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway this afternoon. 2:30 start on USA. Christopher Bell on pole for today. So that's your sports update. We'll be right back with the final couple minutes with Danny Harmon in just a minute. All right.
Give Nicaragua Landscape Supplies a call today at 508-947-5363 for same-day delivery service. He offers mulch, stone, and wood chips. He also offers printed bird bags and TV lanterns. Visit his new location at 364 Main Street, Plimpton, 1 mile from Tractor Supply in Carver.
We have about 1 minute left in our commercial break.
Okay.
Coming back.
Yep, coming back from the commercial break now.
We got a good 6 minutes, right?
We got a good 3 minutes.
No, it's only...
It's 7:57. I'm
Oh.
looking right at it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's.
We need
We
to
took
go
that
out.
commercial break a little late. I wanted to take it at 7:50, but it's okay because I didn't want to interrupt what was going on here.
Yeah, no, it's tough.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0, and we're back. So I turn the music down. There we go. We got about 2.5 minutes or something like that left in the show. Before we finish up with Danny, real quick, our today in history. 1790, the District of Columbia is established as the capital of the United States after signature of the Resident Act. It would be 10 years before they officially moved to Washington, D.C., in December of 1800. 1861, the American Civil War. At the order of President Abraham Lincoln, Union troops began a 25-mile march into Virginia, which would become the first Battle of Bull Run, the first major land battle of the War of the Civil War. 1941, Joe DiMaggio hit safely for the 56th consecutive game, a streak that still stands as an MLB record. 1969, the Apollo program, Apollo 11, the first mission to land astronauts on the moon, is launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Kennedy, Florida. 2004, Millennium Park, considered Chicago's first and most ambitious 21st century architectural project, is opened to the public by Mayor Richard M. Daley. Birthdays: 1907, Orville Redenbacher. 1943, Jimmy Johnson, the American football player and coach. 1967, Will Ferrell. comedian and producer and actor. 1968, Barry Sanders, American football player. Passings on this date, 1882, Mary Todd Lincoln, the First Lady of the United States. 1981, Harry Chapin, American singer-songwriter and guitarist. 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr. And 2017, George Romero, American horror film director. Okay, we got about 1 minute left in the show. So, Danny, how can people get in touch with you? And how can people find your material, your real material?
I'm on YouTube, and go to youtube.com/Distant Signal, or just search your YouTube app /Distant Signal, all one word. Distant Signal. No underscores, no dots. No, I've had some people with playing some shenanigans on me this year, copying my channel and stuff with the underscore gag and all that stuff. So Distant Signal is all one word. You can contact me on Facebook. I'm at Railfan Danny. That's the best way to reach me right there.
Awesome.
All right, it's 8 o'clock.
Danny, can you stay on the line real quick after we get off the air?
Sure.
Oh, awesome, great.
It's 8 o'clock.
You,
we gotta go. Coming up next is the Bread of Life broadcast with Pastor Ortez Van Cross. Another great show, and hold on one second, there we go. Another great show planned once again for him. Always a great program, always a great message every single week. Pastor Ortez Van Cross with Bread of Life coming up next.
And thank you, Danny, for calling in.
Thank you so much, Danny, for calling in today.
Thanks for having me. I always enjoy it.
And have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. We'll be back next week. Down.
Danny, thanks again for calling in.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for having me. I'm sorry I was late.
That's all right. That's all right. You had to run and get your cup of coffee. I think that was your first cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that. That's all right. Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate you taking the time. Sunday morning's a tough call, but I really appreciate you calling.
No, Sunday mornings are usually fine. I just had a very busy day yesterday, so I slept a little longer than I normally do. I'm normally up by 5:30, 4:45.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. No, I get up that time too. I have some people who work at the oil company. They were up at 2 and they start at 3, and I was like, I'm not starting at 3 in the morning. Yeah, it's just.
Now, how's that business going?
It's all right. I've been in it for 30 years. I pretty much.